All right. Hi, welcome back. Um, I've been getting a number of questions across a number of videos regarding some of the specific details about my vintage mountain bike to gravel bike conversion that I did. And I thought I would take a minute and instead of like constantly readdressing them in the comments, which I've done, but I thought I'd make a quick video to run down some of the most common ones and maybe add some clarity to what you're trying to do. So the first comment I've been getting is that bike's too small for you. Um, I guess that's someone looking at the rise of the stem and saying that with that much stem showing and that much seat post showing that the whole bike could be bigger and therefore my bike is undersized. Okay, buddy, whatever you say. The bike does not have a radical amount of seat post showing for a mountain bike, which is really what it is. It does have um, um, some amount of stem quill showing to get some rise on the front end because I am not as limber as I was when I was 18 and the bike no longer has like a 145 millimeter riser stem on it from the mountain bike days. So yeah, I guess, sure, go off. Question number two. What tires are those? They are Panaracer Gravel King 26 by 2.1s. That's a 53 if you're in the metric world. They are delightful. They are tubeless compatible. I am running them tubeless. They have way more traction on actual trails than I would have expected based on their tread pattern, and they roll pretty well on the pavement. I've been running them in the 25 to 30 psi range pretty happily on the pavement. Anything below 25 and they're a little too squishy on tarmac, and I get wary of pinch flatting because I'm huge. So yeah, 25 30 psi on those. They're great. No, I don't know where you can get them. I would assume all the usual scumbags, but God knows what's in stock right now, what with the pandemic on and all the rest. So good luck. Call your LBS. That's first thing. Second thing, gearing. It's a 1123 8-speed cassette in the back. No, that doesn't take any weird adapters because it's 8-speed, and 8-speed Shimano mountain bike plays nice with 8-speed Shimano road bike, as does 9-speed, and I think as does 10-speed. So have fun with that. Chain rings are a 29 inner and actually technically that's a middle. It's a triple chainring crankset. I don't use the innermost chainring position. I run a middle ring and an outer ring. That's a double. My inner is a 29 tooth. Yes, that's possible because it's a 5x94 bolt pattern. The outer is a 46 tooth. Yes, that's a big hop between the two. No, the shifting is not super fast, but yes, it does shift. The derailleur is, as far as I can remember and tell, because it's been polished over the years, I think it's an XT mountain bike derailleur from back in the day. You have to remember that original mountain bike cranksets were triples, and they were typically 10-tooth jumps, so it would have been like a 26, 36, 46, but at the time of this bike and that front derailleur, which I think is original to it, it would have been a 22, 32, 42 combo. So it's about the right shape, about the right profile. It doesn't seem to have a ton of difficulty doing the shift. I wouldn't say it's racy fast, but it's not a race bike, so I don't really care. What else? I've been getting asked about, there's some early videos of that bike and pictures where it has V-brakes on it, like linear brakes on it, and with STI levers or brifters or brake shift levers or whatever. And people saying, how'd you get that to work? I didn't. It was rubbish. In order to have that setup work, you have to set up the brake pads impossibly close to the rim to get anything like reasonable braking power. And then if you get any wobble in anything that rubs, it's just the worst. Since then, let me say, you can make it work if you use, I've been told, if you use mini V-brakes. I can't because I need clearance for a fairly chunky tire and a fender that's in there. But you can use minis if you're not constrained by that, and that will work. What I did was go to old school cantilevers, except as someone who grew up with cantilevers and had like nightmares about adjusting the pads on them, there are new cantilevers that use V-brake pads, and they totally don't suck to set up. And so I got a set of those. They're Tektro something or others. They weren't expensive, and they work a treat. Tons of clearance. Plenty of braking power. The front brake howls like a banshee. I think that mostly has to do with my atrocious pad setup on the thing. Maybe also with having a ceramic rim, but neither here nor there. And it's a way better setup. The other thing you could do, I suppose, if you wanted to run like V brakes, because you really want the power from that, there were for a time adapters that were made. They were called travel agents, and they basically converted the cable throw from a road bike standard to a mountain bike standard for those brakes. So you could put them in line, and they sort of do a conversion. Basically, two pulleys on them. Last I looked, they were like impossible to find. I'm sure Blue Lug or whoever has like a drawer full of them that they squirreled away like 20 years ago when they were a huge thing. But if you could find those, I suppose you could make those work. I'm not using those because I don't have, I think I have one actually, weirdly, but it's more complication than I needed. Different brakes work just fine for me. And I think that's the full rundown of weird specific details about it, of things to keep in mind with it. Oh yeah, sorry, I am running a full-sized frame pump on that bike, because why wouldn't you? Yeah, I know CO2, yeah, I know mini pumps. Mini pumps are great if you have no other pump, but I don't think anyone would say that a mini pump will outperform a full-size frame pump at its actual job. So, you know, there's that. And two, like CO2 stuff is just too fickle and finicky for me, and I'm just super wary that like I'd screw something up, you know, blow a tire off the rim by overinflating too rapidly or whatever, and then have no additional CO2 for the second try, and that means that you need to bring a mini pump with you. And if I'm gonna have to bring CO2 and a mini pump for a backup, why not just bring the frame pump and be done with it? Also, you get the swag factor of having a frame pump on the bike. Is that it? I think. Yeah, I think that's it. That bike has had basically nothing done to it since it's reached this iteration. I have a slow leak in the rear wheel for air right now. I think I have squirmed the tire off the rim enough times that there's schmoo between the bead hook and the of the rim and the bead of the tire, and that's letting a slow leak of air come through. But I haven't had it in me to rip the tire off and clean everything and then re-put the sealant in and all the rest, but I'm sure it's nothing. Other than that, hit me up with questions, and I'm happy to answer and help with your conversion if you want. Anyway.